Good morning, guys. Hope you're doing well. Today I want to talk about the question how to get out of the comparison trap. Here's the message that I got. I know theoretically people say don't compare, but I'm having trouble actually executing on that advice. Um, do you have any words of wisdom on how to stop comparing myself to others? So, this is a great question. The first thing that I would say is, much like anything in life, you'll have to work at it. Uh, it's not like one day you're gonna wake up and be like, I'm gonna stop comparing myself to, other people, and boom, it happens. I think we naturally, as human beings, compare, especially with the people that we see on a week to week basis, whether that be friends or family, or whoever else you surround yourself with. One thing that I would recommend you actively do is, when you see yourself comparing yourself to others, immediately stop it. Stop that thought process. And I think if you can continue to practice that weeks and months on end, I think in a year you'll see that you've grown a lot in terms of not comparing yourself to others. I think another aspect of comparing yourself is not keeping perspective on your blessings, right? I think the best antidote to comparison is incorporating more gratitude and gratefulness. For example, if you live in the US or any other country with a democratic government, understand that that's a blessing. You don't live under a dictatorship or, under a government where there's censorship. And you can look up, I don't know the numbers, but there's X number of, you know, millions of people who don't live in a democratic country, right? And maybe actually billions, actually, if you consider China with its, communism and things like that. Um, so, you know, really key in on the world and some of the blessings that you have, right? Like that's not something you directly, manifested, You were lucky to be born in a country with a democratic government. A lot of people aren't. Um, if you have parents, that's a blessing. If you're healthy, that's a blessing. If you have access to clean water, that's a blessing. Um, if you're, you know, in a country where women, do have equal rights and can go to school and can be whoever they want to be, that's a blessing. I can obviously go on forever in giving examples. I think, inherently, and I'm assuming based on what the question asked, is, you know, the person is getting into comparison traps and feeling negative, and I think that's when you really have to go back to look at all the good that I have in my life. And again, this third aspect, um, it seems like this individual has it down, but understand comparison will never make you happy, right? Um, there's a saying, comparison is the thief of joy. And I think for me, where this really resonated um, was last year when I took 2 weeks off of social media. Uh, you know, I took 2 weeks off to just kind of see what it was like, and just kind of experience life without it. Obviously, my generation of people have kind of grown up with this since middle school, some element of social media since middle school. And it was so interesting because I started getting a happiness and joy I hadn't felt in a long time. In part, I think, because I wasn't continuously being fed other people's lives and what they were doing. You know, before social media, you went through your day and you diagnosed how your day went when you got home. Today, you're fed all these people's lives on social media, and it can overload your brain as you try to diagnose your life in comparison to all the other people's lives you're seeing on social media. And the other interesting thing about social media, and this is a tangent, but you're only getting the best version of a person's life, like the perfect version that they want to present to the world. Most people, when they're going through a downtime in life, aren't posting to social media, you know, that they're going through this downtime, right? You only see the positive moments. And so when I took that break from social media, you know, I really was able to hone in and focus in on, you know, my friends, you know, being, you know, a good friend there, my family, being a good family member to my family, and things like that. And so, you know, obviously, if you're listening to this or watching this, you see that I've returned to social media. But I think that experience has really allowed me to limit my time on social media, you know, for those reasons. And the fourth piece of advice that I would say is, you know, balance the comparison with people that have it worse than you. You know, I've been asked this question multiple times, and when people do comparisons, they never do it to people doing it, you know, that have a life worse than them. You know, how many times have you compared yourself to someone without access to clean water, right? And there's at least 1 billion people in the world that don't have access to clean water. Have you ever said, man, I have a better life than, you know, 1 billion people because of that fact alone? You know, I feel like most people make comparisons to quote unquote people that seem to be doing better. You know, balance it out with people that seem to not be doing as well with you. The fifth thing in conjunction with this is the main thing with comparison that I think is the healthiest is comparing yourself to yourself. You know, and I try to, you know, look at things annually. So compare where you are today to where you were last year. And again, obviously, as you know, the years go on, certain things may go up and certain things may go, like different parts of your life may have differing results, right? Like, you might be going through a good, you know, work year this year, or you're in a good situation, but then maybe your relationship ended, and so it's been a, you know, more of a negative or a struggle, right? But year over year on the aspects of the life that you can control, if they're getting better, then that's all you can ask for. I mean, that's progress, and as long as things are progressing overall in a positive direction and you're in a better place today than you were last year, I mean, that's the best thing that can ever happen. So these are the 5 points of advice from my end on dealing with the comparison trap. Feel free to let me know your thoughts, any comments, and you know, if you have any life topic suggestions, please let me know. Thanks, guys.